Through the generous contribution of Dr. Lewis's family, we're very fortunate to be able to share with you these timeless recordings of Dr. M. W. Lewis, a self-realized American yogi. Dr. Lewis was Paramahansa Yogananda's first American disciple and dearest personal friend. The wisdom Dr. Lewis imparts through these teachings will give you a dynamic and practical insight into the ancient science of yoga as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. This lecture's title is Finding God in Service and was delivered in San Diego, California on August 5th, 1966.
Finding God in Service. Service is the basis of all progress toward God. Service is the basis of the two great commandments. And so we can see that service is very important in our struggle to express divinity or God within us. Those two great commandments I'll read at this time, and in them you will find the answer to this subject, find God in service. Matthew the 12th chapter, 36 to 40th verses, we read, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? And Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Now, if you love God, you will surely serve Him. We have no trouble in serving those we really love. And if you see God in everyone, in your neighbors, you will surely serve them, without question of a doubt. And then finally, we love those most who serve us most, and you cannot get away from that eternal truth. And that's why the Guru is so important, because he serves us most. It is he, as a channel of God, who takes us to God. Don't you think that's the greatest service? So remember those three things. If you really know God and love Him, you will serve Him, and it will not be difficult. And if you see His light in others, if you see God in others, they will be your neighbors, no matter their race, color, or creed. And you will have no trouble in serving them, because surely you can serve those whom you love, being your own relatives, so to speak. And finally, those who serve us most, or serve us in the best way, naturally, those are the ones we love best. And the greatest example is the Guru, because he serves us as no one else can serve us, because he has been appointed, commissioned by God to take us back home to our one cosmic home of light. And so in these two commandments, we find this question answered. Find God in service. Now, the goal of service is something we must not forget. The goal of service is what? Is to find God. Even the businessman, he knows that he's got to serve his customers if he's going to make money. That's the law. And so the goal of service, the real goal, even though the businessman thinks he'll feel good if he makes money and will be able to do this and that, that's so. But he's really finding and searching for God, because money, he feels, will give him fulfillment of all desire and happiness and health and wealth. But behind it is his yearning of his soul to find God. And so service is necessary. And the goal of service, do not be sidetracked. The goal of service is to find God. Therefore, we come to the question how to attract his attention. How to attract God's attention is the most important thing, because the goal is to find him. How to attract his attention. Work, as I said in the scripture, reading of the scriptures, work not to please men, but to please God. If you want to attract his attention, don't be sidetracked by thinking that if you work for men and do good to people, that's enough. No. Work for one thing, to please God. Then you'll never be disappointed, because even though your motive is the highest, and you work to please others, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But if you work to please God, you can never fail. And the Master said that in one of his letters to me. I remember distinctly, he said, there was a time when I worked to please others. There was a time when I wanted to do good to others, that they think well of me. But he says, now I work only to please God. And I find in that freedom. If you work to please God, the answer is that you will have freedom, because God is freedom. God is all. He has made all things. If he is the sole doer, why shouldn't we work only to please him? Because even though this cosmic dream with its delusion has the power to make us feel that we are working for ourselves or doing this and that for ourselves, that's not so. God, in spite of that, is the doer. And so all he asks is that we play our part, perform service, not forgetting the giver. Now, another way to attract his attention is to help his children. That's the second commandment. First is to work for God, to please God alone. Second is to serve his children.